The Hittite Empire was one of the great powers of the ancient Near East. Yet for many centuries, its history was almost completely forgotten. Only in the late 19th and early 20th centuries did archaeologists uncover its ruins and rediscover the thousands of clay tablets that recorded its language, laws, and daily life. The Hittites were an Indo-European people who built a powerful kingdom centered in Anatolia, the region that is now modern-day Turkey. Their story is one of rise, expansion, rivalry with Egypt and Mesopotamia, internal struggles, and a dramatic collapse that still puzzles historians. The earliest Hittites probably arrived in Anatolia around the early 2nd millennium BCE. They spoke an Indo-European language, which makes them linguistically related to ancient Greeks, Persians, and even modern European languages. When they arrived, Anatolia was already home to several well-developed cultures, including the Hattians, after whom the Hittites took their name. The local people influenced the newcomers in many ways, especially in religion and art. The Hittites adopted the gods of the Hattians and other neighbors and blended them into their own belief system. This mixture of cultures is one of the defining features of early Hittite society. The first major Hittite political structure was the Old Hittite Kingdom, which began around 1650 BCE. Its most famous early ruler was Hattusili I, who moved the Hittite capital to Hattusa, a high fortified city surrounded by steep hills and natural defenses. Hattusili I began expanding the kingdom by attacking nearby territories and pressing south towards Syria. After his death, he was succeeded by his grandson Mursili I, who carried out one of the most remarkable military actions in ancient history. Around 1595 BCE, Mursili led an army all the way to Babylon, nearly 1,000 kilometers away, and captured the city. This bold attack ended the first Babylonian dynasty, but the Hittites did not remain there. Instead, after plundering the city, they returned to Anatolia. On the way home, they were attacked and weakened by rivals, especially the Hurrians of Mitanni. This period was followed by confusion and instability. For several decades, the Hittite state was weakened by power struggles, assassinations, and rebellions. Kings were overthrown, and many of the lands conquered earlier were lost. The central government struggled to maintain control, and for a time the Hittites seemed on the verge of disappearing. But in the 14th century BCE, a powerful line of kings restored the kingdom and built it into a great empire. This era is known as the Hittite New Kingdom or Hittite Empire period, and it represents the peak of Hittite power. The first great king of this revived empire was Suppiluliuma I, c. 30 to 1322 BCE. He reorganized the government, strengthened the army, and launched a series of highly successful military campaigns. Suppiluliuma defeated the Mitanni kingdom, which had long been a major rival in northern Syria. By defeating Mitanni and controlling its former lands, the Hittites became one of the dominant powers in the region. Suppiluliuma also fought with Egypt for control of Syria, a region rich in trade routes and valuable resources. Although he did not achieve complete control, he managed to turn many Syrian cities into vassal states loyal to the Hittites. One of the most surprising episodes in Suppiluliuma's reign involved the death of an Egyptian king, likely Tutankhamun. According to Hittite documents, an Egyptian queen wrote to Suppiluliuma asking him to send one of his sons to marry her, because she had no heir. Taking this extraordinary opportunity, Suppiluliuma agreed, but the prince was murdered on his way to Egypt. This event led to war between the Hittites and Egypt, and contributed to the spread of a deadly plague that entered Anatolia and caused enormous damage to the Hittite population. The plague lasted for decades and killed many, including Suppiluliuma himself. Suppiluliuma's successors continued his expansionist policies. During this period, the Hittite Empire stretched from western Anatolia to northern Mesopotamia and deep into Syria. Its administration was highly organized. The empire relied on a network of vassal kings who had to swear loyalty to the Hittite king and send troops when needed. The capital city, Hattusa, grew into a major political and religious center, filled with temples, palaces, and archives. Thousands of clay tablets found there reveal a rich legal system, diplomatic letters, historical records, and treaties. Among these documents is the Treaty of Kadesh, one of the first known peace treaties in world history. The Hittites reached their peak during the reign of Hattusili III and Rameses II of Egypt. These two leaders fought the famous Battle of Kadesh around 1274 BCE in Syria. This battle is one of the best documented events of the ancient world because both Egypt and the Hittites recorded their versions of it. Each side claimed victory, but in reality the battle ended in a stalemate. After years of tension, Hattusili III and Ramesses II agreed to a peace treaty that established a long period of stability between the two empires. The treaty also included promises of mutual defense, meaning that if either empire was attacked by another enemy, the other would help. The peace between the Hittites and Egyptians lasted for the rest of their histories. The Hittite Empire was powerful, but it was not without problems. The region of Anatolia was home to many independent or semi-independent groups, and revolts were common. Some vassal states in Syria and the Levant were unreliable and shifted their loyalty depending on who seemed stronger at the time. There were also internal conflicts within the royal family. Hittite kings often faced challenges from their own relatives, leading to plots and occasional civil war. Additionally, the empire suffered from economic difficulties. Maintaining large armies and supporting the network of vassal states required resources, and there were periods when food shortages and high demands on farmers caused stress within the population. Another major factor in the weakening of the Hittite Empire was the arrival of new groups of people in the region. One of these was the Sea Peoples, a confederation of various tribes who attacked many Mediterranean regions around the late 13th century BCE. These groups destroyed several major powers, including parts of the Mycenaean civilization in Greece and the coastal cities of the Levant. The Hittites were strongly affected by these invasions. Their coastal territories were attacked, their trade routes were disrupted, and their ability to import essential goods was damaged. By around 1200 BCE, the Hittite Empire began to collapse. The exact reasons are not fully known, and historians still debate what happened. One likely factor was a combination of internal problems and external pressure. The central government may have become too weak to control its vast territories. Provinces far from Hattusa may have rebelled or declared independence. Climate change may also have played a role, possibly causing long droughts and food shortages. Archaeological evidence suggests that many Hittite cities, including the capital, were burned and abandoned during this time. Whether this destruction was caused by invaders, internal fighting, or a combination of both is still unclear. After the fall of Hattusa around 1190 BCE, the Hittite Empire disappeared from history. However, not all Hittites vanished. Several small Hittite-related states survived in northern Syria and southern Anatolia. These are known as the Neo-Hittite states, and they continue to exist for several centuries. They used a mixture of Hittite and local cultural traditions, and are best known for their inscriptions written in the Luwian language and their distinctive rock carvings. Eventually, these states were conquered by the Assyrian Empire in the 9th and 8th centuries BCE. Although the Hittite Empire ended more than 3,000 years ago, it left a significant legacy. One of the most important contributions was the development and use of ironworking. While the Hittites did not invent iron technology, they were among the first to use it widely, which gave them a military advantage and helped spread iron tools across the region. Their legal system was also significant. The Hittites created detailed law codes that were less harsh than other ancient law systems. For example, many crimes that were punished by death in Babylonian law resulted in fines or compensation in Hittite law. The rediscovery of the Hittites in the 20th century changed our understanding of the ancient world. Before this, most knowledge of early Middle Eastern civilizations came from Egyptian and Mesopotamian sources. The Hittite archives provided an entirely new perspective, showing that there was another great empire that played a major role in regional politics. Their diplomatic letters, historical records, and treaties offered insight into international relations thousands of years ago. In conclusion, the Hittite Empire was a major force in the ancient Near East, rising from a collection of early settlements to a powerful state that rivaled Egypt and dominated much of Anatolia and Syria. Its history is marked by bold military campaigns, complex diplomacy, cultural blending, and eventual collapse. Although the empire fell more than 3 millennia ago, the rediscovery of its cities and writings has given modern historians a deeper understanding of ancient politics, law, and society. Today, the Hittites are recognized as one of the great civilizations of the Bronze Age, forgotten empire brought back to light through archaeology and scholarship.